A solemn, yet comely young boy sat bored during his lectures. He was well above anything the school could teach him, yet he had to attend. His days were dull and repetitive, yet today was an odd day. His usual teacher had called in sick, and a substitute had taken his place. Unusual was the kindest way he could describe the substitute's appearance and demeanor. He was pale and wore purple markings, and every time he looked at his class, he swore that he always gave him a quick, mischievous smile. The young black-haired boy felt uncomfortable and longed for this class to be over. And as the bell rang, every kid quickly exited the hall, and he was right behind them. But much to his dismay, the pale teacher called for him, and him only. Yes, hand over your phone. What? Hand over your phone. I saw you using it. You must be mistaken, Mr. Orochimaru. I was not using my phone at all today. I will not discuss this with you. Hand over your phone to me, unless you want me to take more disciplinary measures. The raven-haired boy was confused, yet he did as he was told and handed over his phone. The teacher took his flip phone away from his hands and almost seemed to smile while doing it. He flipped it open and flipped it closed. It seems you are right. I may have confused you for someone else. You couldn't have possibly been goofing around with this antiquated device. The creepy substitute teacher gave back the young boy's phone and placed it in his hands with a smile. The young boy closed his fingers around his cellular device and turned to leave. As he walked towards the exit, the teacher spoke once again. Oh, and do you mind closing the door behind you, Sasuke? Sasuke looked at his teacher with bewilderment and did as he was told. He shut the door behind him. Since that day, he never saw that teacher again, and since that day, his phone began sending him strange messages and pictures. He noticed that he had a strange app installed on his old flip phone. He never remembered installing it, but it seemed harmless. At first, it began sending him mundane pictures of himself in different locations he had already visited, which when he went to read the app, said it could do. But slowly he also started to see a figure. Now, Sasuke was always a smart kid, so he understood the basics of a GPS location and Photoshop, but this did not make any sense. His old flip phone had no way of knowing his location, and even the Photoshop was really good, scaringly good. Yet, even this weird creature appearing in his photos did not really scare or startle him, for he had gone through so much worse as a child. He was orphaned at a very young age and given to a foster care. He found much more comfort by himself and with training his body and mind, although in preparation for what, he could not say. He enjoyed it nonetheless. Now at the age of 12, and having this weird creature starting to appear in his own vision and integrating into his life, he begins to accept it and not pay much mind. That is until it starts talking to him. Behind the school, into the forest. Keep hidden south through the forest until you reach a clearing. What's behind the school? A way to possibly meet him. SCP-1471 is a free 9.8 megabit application for mobile devices named Mallow, version 1.0.0. Once installed, it will begin manifesting itself via pictures of frequently visited places of the user. It will embed itself in a background or foreground, slowly making itself more known. It has the appearance of a dark humanoid with a dog's skull over its head and dark hair. After some time, it will begin intruding into the user through more direct means, invading their peripheral vision or reflective surfaces. It affects users depending on who they are, simply by just being a friend or helping them shape the world around them. Naruto, having been neglected and bullied by his village, ran off and made a deal with the devil. In exchange for a friend, he negotiated with SCP-738 and gave up his body to be used as a vessel for a powerful SCP, SCP-953. First, the clouds set in, then the downpour began, slowly at first, then it began picking up. Naruto lay down flat on his back, with his rugged, orange jacket giving him minimal protection from the rain, but luckily, it helped him to wake up. He quickly checked his surroundings and began to panic. He didn't know where he was. What he saw around him was a clearing, and behind him was a forest. As he got up, he felt a fog start to set in, and the cold began to seep through his jacket. He began walking in front, deeper into the thick mist. Clearly, he wasn't dreaming. He remembered everything that transpired before. Him running off and finding that strange cabin and that peculiar devil. Naruto was promised a friend, but now he was more alone than ever. It wasn't really scary for him, the fog that is. He didn't even care what happened anymore, as he simply walked further in. As Naruto walked further in, a sort of sixth sense unlocked before him. He didn't know what he had. It urged him to get down, low on the ground. Now, Naruto lodged his newfound instinct and fell face forward to the ground as he felt the wind split just above him. The fog parted in front of him, and he felt that strong urge once again to move to the side. Quickly, he did just that, as Naruto quickly sprung from his prone position and sidestepped to the right. Soon, his attackers came into view, but it was hard to see in this thick mist. At the very least, he could feel their immense pressure. "I need you to leave this area, now." Naruto was at a loss for words. This man looked disturbing. He had a mean and vicious look, not to mention the grey-blue hue he had to his skin. But the most disturbing part of all, he had a large sword that looked impossible to carry. "You don't understand. I can't control it. This sensation, this urge to kill is inescapable. Leave." SCP-2200 consists of 4 anomalous properties, the first of which is a large blue-gray sword. The second is a humanoid. The third, an undisclosed area filled with fog. And the fourth is the souls that are acquired through the sword. SCP-2200, or the sword, will seek out a host in the form of a human and bond with them, giving them the urge to collect and therefore liberate souls by sending them to an undisclosed, foggy area. The souls themselves are sentient and retain all of their memories of their previous lives and will only die if they step outside of the boundaries that they call the Land of Waves. Naruto gulped hard and nodded. He began walking backward. Then, Naruto felt it once more, a sensation, but now multiple of them, and this time he felt a fury start to bubble up from within him. As Naruto turned, he saw about a dozen of black, armored-clad soldiers, all carrying weapons which were trained towards them, all with a strange white insignia etched on their armor, and from the middle of that squad emerged another man with a black face mask, a blindfold over his left eye, and a white lab coat. "Give it up, 2200. You're surrounded." "Oh, for fuck's sake. Duck!" SCP-2200 spun and let out a pressurized swing from his sword, aiming for the heads of his new opponents. Most of them were able to dodge, but a few lost their heads. "Return fire!" The MTF squad began spraying in unison, trying to take down SCP-2200. SCP-2200 stuck his gigantic sword into the ground and used it as a shield, as metal made contact with metal, making clang noises. The woman beside him sprung into action and seemingly disappeared into the mist while launching needles from her hands. Within half a minute, bullets, needles, and pressurized air was flung right above the head of Naruto. He crouched down and began to move away from the fight. Naruto finally made it out through the onslaught and started to run off when he was pulled by his collar by the doctor with the face mask. "No need to run, you're safe with us. Just stay near me until backup arrives." Naruto felt a wave of anger rise up from the pit of his stomach, and for a second, it looked like he might strike this doctor. A pink-haired girl named Sakura was tailing Sasuke as he slipped by everyone and headed into the forest behind her school. She didn't know why, but she felt a pull towards this boy. That look in his eyes, of full potential and a hint of deep sadness. She tried to talk to him before, but he never paid her much mind and was even rude to her, but she didn't care. She could tell he was hurting more. Nothing really surprised Sasuke, but this creature that had been invading his vision was proving to be abnormal even for him. He thought that what he was seeing was due to his own way of coping with his past, and now with Mallow. At least, that's what they call themselves, talking. He began to wonder if he was going crazy. That is until he heard the gunshots. A part of him felt scared, but Mallow seemed to know his past and his feelings. "Don't be scared. We'll get to the bottom of it. I promise." With that, Sasuke sprinted forward, deeper into the fog. "Kakashi, my name is Dr. Kakashi. Nice to meet you." The doctor reached a gloved hand towards Naruto in a sign of good faith. Naruto calmed himself down and took his hand. It was a strong handshake. He noticed body armor, strange knives underneath his lab coat, and a swirling leaf etched into his blindfold, covering his left eye. For a split second, Kakashi felt the pressure of this boy. It made him feel as he was standing right in front of SCP-682. But it was only for a split second, which made him doubt what he felt. He would have to take this boy into custody, and at the very least, give him amnestics, so he could reintegrate back into his normal life. "And what's your name?" "Naruto." Then Kakashi felt it again, another strong entity making his way towards him, although this time he knew exactly who he was dealing with. Step aside, Naruto. Let me deal with this one. Kakashi and SCP-2200 eyed each other down as they circled one another, daring each other to make a move. SCP-2200 bolted straight towards him, and Kakashi quickly took out one of his kunai. He parried his gigantic blade with one of his knives. You're worth quite a bit. I remember it from my bingo book when I was working as security for them. So you are with them. No wonder we couldn't locate this SCP for several years. It was with you guys. I'm not with them anymore. All I want to do is be left alone with her. The sword chose me, and it gave me a solution to her problem. I don't want to kill anymore. Leave. If you were with them, then you know how we operate. We cannot let you roam free. Just give yourself up, and we'll help you. I can't leave. I'll never leave. I guess you guys really are my enemy. SCP-2200 broke the parry, but the doctor didn't let up. He continued to attack him, eventually gaining much more speed, and soon the both of them vanished in a thick fog, as the only sign that they were still fighting were the sounds of their weapons clanging together. Sasuke eventually entered the battlefield, as his eyes focused on 4 different individuals, 3 heavily armored men, all with assault weapons, a blue-gray girl with long hair and several needles sticking from in between her fingers, and several corpses on the ground. The seriousness of the situation soon dawned on Sasuke, but before he could protest, a sharp needle came flying towards him, and he felt Mallow guide him away, avoiding the almost invisible needle. The armored men saw this as an opportunity to attack and started blasting, but as the bullets made contact with the metal girl, they simply did nothing. She was impervious to bullet fire. She flung more needles, all directed to the remaining survivors, and all struck, quieting the machine guns for good. Her attention quickly shifted towards Sasuke as mirrors started to appear within the mist. Her likeness could be seen on each of the mirrors as she flung more needles towards Sasuke, some finding their mark, and he screamed in pain. Naruto wasn't one to play hero, but he also wasn't the one to let someone die, especially someone who's something around his age. With his newfound instincts, he began heading towards the mirrors, first in a run, then in a full-on sprint, until finally he jumped much higher than ever before and landed right beside Sasuke. The boys looked at each other and felt an instant connection, yet neither of them knew what it meant. But the situation was made clear to Naruto as he saw the girl with the needles and Sasuke with several of them sticking out of him. Naruto could see the damage wasn't fatal nor deep, but it still had to hurt. None of them spoke, as their enemy didn't give them a chance. I was dying and he killed me. Zabuza saved me. He knew what that sword was, what it meant when he bonded with it, yet he did it for me. I can never leave here, but as long as he is here, I'll be his tool, and I'll protect him. It's weird that you have only one other person. That sword will bring anyone you kill here, in this land of waves, as they call it. Why should I explain myself to you? You lab coats don't get it. You've never gotten it. I can't resist it. The urge to kill, the urge to collect. It's all for us. It's all for Haku. Kakashi understood it all too well. He knew the cost to the life he lived, but he had a job to do, and he was going to end it. Between the mirrors, Haku appeared and continued to launch several more needles in seemingly random directions. Both Sasuke and Naruto were tagged with them. They weren't deep. She was going for a death by 1,000 cuts. Sasuke understood the implication and knew that if this continued, they would lose too much blood. And as this thought came to him, Mallow understood him and decided they would help. Mallow was an entity made to help those forgotten. They understood Sasuke's pain and manifested itself to project it outwards. Mallow bounced from images to Sasuke's psyche, and they could bounce to our reality as well. Sasuke felt the creature invade his eyes even more, consuming his vision. But instead of making them blind, he could see more. He could see the details of everything. The fog wasn't a problem anymore, and neither were the mirrors. He knew exactly where Haku was. Now this part is more or less the same as in the manga. Sasuke using his ocular powers is able to evolve mid-battle, and Haku knows that if she continues, that Sasuke would eventually win. So instead of going after Sasuke, she attacks Naruto, leading Sasuke to move on his own and take the blow for Naruto. Now here, they don't share the same rivalry for each other, but Sasuke, up until this point, is not an evil character, so I feel like protecting Naruto here is something he'd definitely do. The rain was at its heaviest at this point, and Naruto held Sasuke in his arms. His breathing was slow and raspy as dozens of needles stuck in his body. Naruto intended to save him, but instead, Sasuke saved him. Sasuke looked up at him and parted his lips to speak. "Don't you dare die. before losing consciousness. From the pit of his stomach, he felt once more this rage, but this time he fueled it with his own, and the outcome came bursting outwards as Naruto's face became contorted and more fox and pharaoh-like. Fangs protruded from his mouth, and a sickening red aura enveloped his body. Naruto didn't even know what came after, but Haku did. She felt fangs sink into her shoulders as a fox-like creature pounced on her. She was impervious to damage as long as she stayed within this fog, but she could feel Naruto melt through her metallic-like skin. She screamed in pain as she tried with all her might to get him off her, but Naruto continued to savage her, biting, clawing, and stomping her, without Haku being able to retaliate. Slowly, Haku lost her will to fight, as she knew that a tool she could no longer be, and a burden she would become to the man that saved her. Naruto finally came to his senses as he knew that if he continued, he would surely kill her, yet Haku pleaded with him to end her. Naruto refused and considered the fight over, but Haku warned him of what was to come of the type of people that put Naruto on their radar, and that he would never be free. But through her mirror she saw the man she loved about to meet his end. Before Naruto could say anything, she knew she could still be of use. Using her mirror, she blitzed to her savior. She knew exactly what killed her. It all happened so fast, and all she knew in the end was that she finally repaid the life Zabuza had given her. Naruto saw a young pink-haired girl run up to Sasuke crying. She knelt beside him, and through her tears, asked if he was dead. "I don't know," Naruto replied. "Just stay here." Naruto ran towards Haku as the fog started to clear up. Before him, Naruto saw Haku on the ground with a hole in her chest, and a doctor that he was talking to standing right in front of her, along with Zabuza. That wasn't meant for her. Kakashi put a blindfold over his left eye once again. Zabuza knelt down and examined her body. She had died twice, while he was still here. His actions had led to this, he knew. In the end, he couldn't hold the SCP Foundation off, but he had to try. He thought she couldn't be killed, and that she could live here forever, even after they had killed him. Zabuza's grief was indescribable as the tears flowed. Zabuza looked at Kakashi and lifted his sword, but instead of going for a fight, he simply dropped it. Kakashi was astonished by this. From all the files he read, it was impossible for a person bonded to detach willingly from SCP-2200. As Zabuza's sword fell to the ground, so did he. He looked at Haku's cold metallic face. He had done this to her. Zabuza smiled as he closed his eyes for the last time. Almost as if on cue, Kakashi heard an engine approach them. They were more MTF squads called in as backup, and quickly they surrounded the three children, with two of them wounded beyond what a normal human should be able to handle. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to follow my Twitter down in the description. Like the video if you liked it. Comment down below what SCP or Naruto characters you want to see next. And feel free to subscribe. You won't regret it.